they intend to do with it. Remember the submarine that ran into something underwater in early October out in the Pacific? The Navy now knows what the Sea Wolf collided with. It was an uncharted underwater mountain. The impact injured several on the boat. It also forced the crew to head from the South China Sea to Guam for repairs. The USS Connecticut had been operating in the contested waterway when it struck the object on October 2nd, but it was unclear at the time what it had hit. In Hopkinton, an 88-year-old Westerly woman is killed. 3 others are hurt in a head-on crash. Elizabeth Thayer died instantly. 1 other in that vehicle is taken to an area hospital. In the other car, an SUV, 34-year-old Keith Brown of Hope Valley is under care at this hour with several broken bones in the collision. 2 others in that vehicle are injured also. State and local officials continue to investigate the crash at this hour.
The managing director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, Tony D joins us every Tuesday to chat about the world of finance and money and elections and government and politics and all of that. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and proud to be among you. How about just being, crazily out of control? How's that?
That works. That works. That works, buddy.
We were talking about me being by myself, and Kathy's up with her mom again, and I'll tell you, God knew what He was doing when He gave Eve to Adam, because it is not good for a man to live alone. Let me tell you, it's just not a very good thing. But anyway, it's election day. Once again, I'm the leadoff hitter on this great station, and I'm honored. But when we talk about elections, you were talking about just the crazy stuff happening. It is difficult. It really is difficult. But I like to look for things that kind of give me hope for the future. I've become increasingly fascinated with this governor's race in Virginia between McAuliffe and Youngkin. And if you look at to me, it's like if you want to look at a good race with a definable left-wing person and a definable Republican with clear and defined issues, this is this and that is that. I mean, this is your race. And I mean, if you're looking for something, I think that like people here who are in this state who crave, sanity, who crave, give me something that I could believe in. I mean, I think, rather than just kind of, messing over the issues or pretending they don't exist, I mean, this thing is really out in the open. And to me, I think what happens in Virginia is going to be so instructive for the next couple of years. And honestly, truthfully, I sure hope that people in this state and people in the political sphere are paying attention to it, because there's a lot happening, and it's going to go down within the next 24 to 36 hours. I hope quickly.
Well, it's okay. So a lot of the folks are equating this, the Democrat to Biden and the Republican to Trump. So I get the tie to Biden, but Trump has been out of office now for a year. We don't know if he's coming back. It seems like everybody on the other side of the aisle, anything negative, they want to tie it to, the orange man. And, if you have any kind of a hiccup in your past, it's attached somehow to Trump. Do you see this race that clearly where it's if the Republican wins in Virginia, it is a sign that Trump may return, blah, blah.
It's an interesting question, Lee. I don't even think, in my mind, Trump doesn't even play into it. I think this is a race between, mama bear schools, American values versus, the state wants control of your children. And I think that that's really the whole issue that was cloaked for so long. But, I really, I don't look at that race as Trump. I look at it as, we want our communities back. We want our schools back. Right. We want our government back. We want our free enterprise back. I'm not seeing Trump in this at all. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, you're the sane one. My point, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that while I was watching some of the Sunday morning shows, even the ones in Connecticut, every time they brought a subject up, and they had brought this subject up, somewhere along the line, the person who was representing the Democrats or the left, and try to incorporate Trump in the narrative.
Always Trump, yeah.
Always Trump, always Trump, always Trump. And that is going to be something that's going to plague the politicians for 2022. They're going to try to tie everything to Trump as well. So I was just curious if you think momentum here will play anything into whether or not Donald Trump decides to run.
I think he's watching. I think he's paying attention. But I think that, to your point, I think I posted this in the stream last week. Someone had called Larry Elder, was a Democrat, called the show, very polite call, and he said, I was bothered, the caller was saying, I was bothered with Trump because of, how Trump acts, how Trump is, and whatever the case may be. And Larry Elder, in a very candid moment, said, I felt exactly the same way. This guy's tweeting about stuff. He's getting involved in things. He's insulting people. What does that matter to me? And Larry Elder said I became more and more irritated with him. But one day, Larry Elder had met a chaplain in an airport, and the chaplain had a son in the special ops. And he said, the chaplain personally says, I can't stand the guy, but if you talk to my kid, everybody in special ops felt that when this guy was there, the enemies were scared, blankless because they were afraid of him. And Larry Elder said, isn't that really the issue? And to that point, we really need to get, it's like we need maturity in this country to say, look, maybe this guy is all these things, or maybe this is all these things, but why do we have to separate that between, what works and what doesn't? This is the part that continually baffles me.
Yeah. Well, he had such hatred going in, and then he didn't really try to smooth that out when he was in. So
Not at all.
He fanned the flame and never really got, to the point where he could reach across the aisle. Now, again, some people think that's great that he didn't reach across the aisle because the people on the other side are nuts. And we've seen that, and I get that. But, to govern, you have to come to the middle a little bit to govern. And that's not even necessarily saying he's far right. He's sort of his own entity. Yeah, his own gig. All right, so voting, yes, we'll see what happens. How about funny money? What do we got going on there?
Where we left off last week, and it's the kind of thing of, I'm getting more irritated to the point is it working or is it not working? We talked a little bit about the Connecticut pension plan, and we talked about how CARES Act money has gone to fund, the pension, and we also talked about the fact that there is a strict CARES Act money, be it CARES, and it all gets fungible when you start to look at it. But be it CARES, be it American Rescue Plan, it's all kind of blending. It's all, we really don't know what's coming down, except for the fact that this isn't really supposed to be for that. And I've been reading these articles about, wow, Connecticut's really doing well, and we're finally going to do something about these pensions, and, we're really together, and all this other kind of stuff. It's getting to the point where if you have to find out what's happening, you have to look elsewhere. I started to look at some stuff this week from the National Association of State Retirement Administrators, and since you can't get genuine information in state, you kind of have to move along to the other side a little bit. These are some things that really, I think, are going to plague us, again, to the maturity of political figures. What's important, what isn't? You're arguing about the color of the drapes, meanwhile the house is burning. We've got we have a deficit as far as in the state of a long-term debt of $92 billion, 70% of that. These are, the controller's figures. 70% of that, or $64 billion, is pension debt, which is really, the albatross here in Connecticut. We have about 264,000 either people who are eligible for the plan or annuitants, people who are taking retirement money. Now, if I do my chicken scratch math and I divide the 264,000 into the $64 billion, each person in this plan is $240,000 in the hole. I mean, that's like saying that, you're saving for retirement, you're putting your money away, and then it's like, can I extract this and take it somewhere else? Of course, with a defined benefit plan, you can't do that, but, it's negative $240,000. And it's like, is anybody really addressing this? Because I'm getting increasingly, kind of sick and tired of the fact that, when everybody kind of runs every which way, they're going to look to the taxpayers to pay this thing out. And I mean, not for nothing, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is a pure Ponzi scheme. A pure Ponzi, because a Ponzi is you got to pay the people that are up front, hoping you get enough people in the back to keep the thing going.
Right.
And notwithstanding the fact, I mean, we've got no annual reports in this thing since 2018. I mean, we know the governor's investments are in the plan. It's like, people, you want me to believe in you. You want me to think you're going to do something for changes, right? Like, I mean, I'm not all that intelligent, and I mean, I'm not missing this ball. Why are you?
Is it just have anybody on the other side of the aisle contacted you? Because I ran into somebody. I went to the Bush Prescott dinner, and I ran into somebody who began to follow you on Twitter and has a correspondence back and forth. And so she said she was working with you on some of this stuff. But have you convinced anybody who may consider themselves a Democrat that all of this shenanigan stuff is going on?
Not yet. I mean, I'm getting a lot more reasonable listening, because it's just becoming more and more indefensible. I mean, and not only that, but it's becoming obvious. I mean, it's, you think about 20 years ago or 30 years ago, we all laughed at Baghdad Bob. Now we've got multiple Baghdad Bobs.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean,
it's nuts. It's absolutely, positively insane.
You keep peeling back pieces of this onion, yet nobody on the other side seems to cry or wants to yell about any of it. Like nobody cares. Like I just don't get. I never could understand that, and that's a key difference between the right and the left. The right does seem like they want to ferret out the miscues and get rid of those.
Right,
folks.
and if it's the right, our local, shall we say, our local right, they want to do it, but yet not offend. And unfortunately, taking us back to the beginning of the conversation, that race in Virginia. I mean, Youngkin's finally gotten to the fact that I don't care if I offend anybody. This is this, that is that. We really need to see that if we're ever going to see any kind of market change. That's my poor little opinion.
Here's one for you. So, pretty soon the governors or the gubernatorial candidates are going to have to announce because we're a year out. And so this is it, right? So it's going to happen before.
Yeah, you're coming up to the toll.
My question for you is, I mean, would this be something that would be front and center for you? Would you continue to attack him on all of these issues? Do you think that a full frontal from someone who's ready to spend $15 million on this can actually ferret out some of this stuff?
I don't know the desire of that. That's really what it comes down to. Personally, I don't think he's going to do it, but yet I think that I don't think for some reason, Lee Elci, there's a great appetite for that, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. To me, this incredible debt and all these little funny money things that you can't find anything about, these contracts, these supposed nonprofits, it's like, well, here it is, go get it. They don't want it. It baffles me, but I don't think really has been a desire for that. But unfortunately, I think it needs to be. Otherwise, I hate to think what we're going to see.
All right, Tony. Good stuff as always. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, pal.
All right, pal. You got it.